Here's a tutorial video for this new little transcription application I've made. First thing you're going to want to do is load in a sound file. The program will take uncompressed and compressed audio files. That is WAV files, AIF files, and MP3s and AACs. AACs are also sometimes called MP4s or M4As. In other words, the program will accept any type of audio file that you typically listen to in iTunes or other programs. If your audio file is encrypted, in other words, if when you're looking at it in your iTunes library, it has a little locked icon, it's not going to load into the program. So you can click the load button. We'll choose an audio file. This is an MP3 file. MP3s and AACs will take slightly longer to load. And when it's done, it'll display the waveform in this waveform display window here. And we can press play. First we want to turn up the volume. And press play. Okay, so pressing this button will toggle between pause and play, much like QuickTime. You can also press the space bar, that's a hotkey, and that will toggle between pause and play for you as well. Now while you're playing, if you want to fast forward or rewind, you can click and drag on this scrub. Right, so that lets you move through the file fairly easily. And you can see as you're dragging, I'm going to drag while it's off right now, you can see down below this waveform display window there's also a little scroll bar that shows you where you are in the waveform. This one you can't click and drag, it's just for your own viewing. As you're messing around with the waveform, you can see where the sound file is. So you can scrub forwards and backwards, pause and play, press spacebar. That's about it with unlooped playback. By default, the program starts not looping. That means when it gets to the end of the file, it will just stop. But we can turn looping on by clicking this switch here, and now we can specify loop points, and the program will loop between these points. So let me specify, by clicking and dragging in the window here, we can create a loop point. Let me press play and see what happens. There's a flagpole rack and the wind won't stop. Okay. You can press shift, click and drag, and expand or contract the window if you want. I want to make a shorter loop. Right? You can move the loop around. If you try to drag outside the loop, it's not going to let you in this way. Okay, so that's the first feature in looping mode. You can see here that under this drop-down menu, select loop is selected by default, and that allows you to click and drag and select loop beginning and ending points. But we can also select this move loop feature, and this allows us to take whatever our current loop is and move it around by dragging to the left and to the right. And by dragging up and down, we can change the size of the loop. So let me show you that. Okay, now the third feature in this drop-down window is zoom. This allows us, and this song is it's only 3 minutes long, but we may want more control over our loop points. So we can click and drag on the window, and when we drag up, we zoom in. When we drag down, we zoom out. Left and right will move what part of the waveform is displayed in the window. So this allowed me to loop much smaller points. So I'll go back to my move loop mode and change the size of this loop. Now if you want to go back to loop the entire sound file, you can click select all, and it will zoom out and then select the entire waveform as its loop. That's pretty much it for playback. Looping, not looping, you can start and stop, you can scrub through the sound file here, change the volume, load files in. In addition to that, you can change the speed of playback without changing the pitch, and you can change the pitch without changing the speed of playback. So let's try that. Let me first decrease the loop size. Let's zoom in again. Okay, so you have these buttons on the left of this of the slider here for quick points. 100% is full speed, 200% is double speed, 75, 50, and 25%. These are easy places to jump to. If you want to manually slide, you can use the slider. And in addition to that, the slider only goes up to 200 and down to 10%. If you want to go below that, which I don't recommend because it will sound pretty bad, or you want to go above 200%, or you just want more subtle control, because you can see here this is only going is only changing the integer value of the number. You can click and drag on the right side of the decimal place down here, and this will give you more subtle control and speed. If you click on the left side of the decimal place, it's just going to be imitating what happens in the slider. Now it doesn't update the visual display on the slider, but it will change the speed, so let me show you that. If I want to go above 200, I can always jump back with these quick buttons here. Now in addition to that, I can change the speed by dragging here. Again, more exact control can be achieved by clicking and dragging on this number down here to the right of the decimal place. Okay, so that's pretty much it. One last feature. If you want to record the sound that you're creating, the slowed down or pitch shifted or time stretched sound that you're creating, you can, while you're playing the audio file, click this start stop record button, and it will light up, and as it's lit up, it will be recording the sound that you're hearing to an audio file, a WAV file, in the same directory as this application. So if this application is on your desktop, it will create a sound file on your desktop with a quasi-random name starting with the letters SF. To stop the recording, you click on the button again. So let's try that. So as it's highlighted, it's saving the audio file, so I can change things. When I'm done, I click on it again. And now I've got a file on my desktop. You can't see it because it's outside of the window. Let me drag it in here. Now I have a file on my desktop named SF and a bunch of quasi-random numbers. And that can be played in iTunes or any other type of audio player that you have. Now if you're not getting any audio, if you're having problems with your audio, you can click the audio setup button. This isn't necessary unless you're having problems. Make sure that the audio is set to on. If it's set to off, that's one of your big problems. And also make sure, unless you're using an external audio interface, that core audio built-in output is selected. Aside from that, all of the other features are not important for proper functioning of the software. So that's pretty much everything. Email me with any questions, and I hope you enjoy.